Guys, so my head is not correct. So I've been waiting for the nighttime to tell another scary story. You can't do scary stories in the daytime. So if you know you're a chicken, just move aside. I'm under my blanket and I know I'm going to agitate myself. So let's go. See, we all know a lot of crazy things happen along the way, but sometimes we choose not to believe them. But let me tell you something. You see, everybody walking around your midst is actually not human. Some of them are spirits, but you will never know. But let me tell you one story that might convince you, because sometimes you see things or hear things and you're like, could it be? Could it be? But then you lie to yourself. Let's go. Now, when we first moved to Nigeria, we had gone to the mall, which is, I think, Palms Mall, right? And on our way back, while we were sitting on the bus taking the fridge, we saw a man, right? This man was walking very funny and very strange, right? Now we are looking at him. My daughter keeps looking at the guy because he looked like a crazy person, but we didn't know. I swear to God, from nowhere, this guy just disappeared. There was no one in front of him. There was no one behind him. And we were so terrified because he literally just vanished into thin air, Now, just not to scare ourselves, we told ourselves, oh no, it's nothing, right? But let me tell you what happened later on. Now, I had a maid, right? She was awesome. Her name was Happiness. And everything was going well and all. She used to gist us about her family, her friends, and everything. Now, one day she's in the kitchen cooking her food, and she gets a phone call from a random number and she picks up. And the guy was, hello. He told his name, and then later on he hung up the phone out of nowhere. Then he called back and he's like, please, I need you to do me a favor. I need you to go to my family and tell them that I need new clothes and I am hungry. He was in the mortuary, he said. Now, she thought it was a prank. We're like, wait, hold on, that's weird. That's a little bit weird. She put off the phone because she's like, I bet she doesn't have time for this. The number kept calling her, and the boy's voice, apart from his voice, she put it on speakerphone. It had like a breezy, airiness to it, But anyway, he kept saying, I need fresh clothes. My clothes are dirty and I need food. So at a point she panicked because she's like, food where? Like, this was in Anambra, so she's in Lagos. How is she going to get food, And she's like, where should we bring the food? He says, the morgue. And she's like, huh? Now, mind you, she sends her brother to the boy's family house to see if there's something wrong with him, maybe something could be off. And he gets there, and guess what? They said the boy had passed away. The boy passed away a few days ago, and strange things have been happening. People keep seeing this boy in the market begging for food, that he's hungry, And they're like, this boy is not a pauper, He actually comes from a good family who can afford food. So for them to see him in the marketplace, they found it strange. And they all went back to the family. And every time the family would say, listen, this boy actually died. So now, when they told her this, she's like, wait, hold on. So who has been calling my phone? So the person called back again and he said, I need clean clothes at the morgue. So she sends her family there. Her mother actually went with her brother to the morgue to see what was happening. Apparently, this boy had a, what do they call it? So he had a ruptured appendix, which they had did the surgery on. But when he got home, he somehow started bleeding. Something happened. So they took him back to the hospital, which there was a lot of blood everywhere. So this is why he kept asking for his clothes to be changed. He passed away in the hospital, right? But he was asking for clothes because it was all stained. And when I say this boy's spirit used the next few days before he was buried, he kept calling her back and asking her to please ask the mother not to bury him yet because he needed to finish some unfinished business. Apparently, he said that somebody had attacked their family spiritually and he wanted to end this. See, I have never been so terrified in my life. I didn't know if to say, you know what, I think it is time for you to leave because I'm like, what is this? We have never prayed so hard in our lives. So what even happened? So 2 days before his funeral, right, he called her again and he says, man, listen, what we know about the afterlife is not the same. And she's like, what do you mean? She said he's standing between two walls, black walls. One is completely black and endless, and the other one is light and endless. He doesn't know where he's supposed to go. There's nothing like what we heard in stories, but he doesn't know where he would choose, because he said it was up to him to choose. But because he had unfinished business here, he couldn't go. But anyway, the day of the burial, the family didn't even want anything else, because he kept popping at their house, and coming with a lot of pests and things like that. So they quickly buried him before he was able to finish what he was planning to do, But yeah, the moral of the story is sometimes you see certain people, they ain't really here, When you think about it, all the stories you hear, especially from the Bible, once you go, you go. But think about it, whatever happens to all those spirits? Do they just float in the air? Like, what really happens to them? And this was scary because there was somebody calling the phone. So how did they hold the phone? There are just some weird things in this life. So as much as there's light, there's also darkness in this life. And sometimes don't mess with what you don't know. There's sometimes you could be driving your car and you see strange people act very strange, crossing the road, doing things. You could tell that they're just lifeless. So please be very prayerful, guys. Be careful, because things be happening. People see footprints all over the place. I remember there was a woman who kept having miscarriages and everything. This is when we were younger. And every night, this woman would see baby footprints coming back to her bed. And a week, two later, she would get pregnant, But then she would lose the child again. So the native lady and everything said, see, listen, before you go to sleep, they'll do some special things. And then they'll put powder by the bed, and they would always wake up with seeing baby footprints. This is real life. This is real life, because that one I actually saw with my eyes. But anyway, guys, make sure you sleep well tonight, and remember, be prayerful. And who knows, I might decide to tell you some of the really, really gruesome stories. I'm under this blanket right now, but I ain't even feeling safe. So let me go back to my family and watch a movie, because I just freaked my own self out. Be careful out there, guys. Mwah.